What's going on, party people? It's been like forever. I was gonna say a minute, that's that East Coast minute. But it's been a minute, it's been forever that I've been on here. And I wanted to come on because I wanted to talk about how we create more chaos. And I've talked to several people throughout this week, last week, and throughout this time, right? And sometimes I know I get caught up in the trap where you want to you're like, oh, I'm doing so good. And then something shifts, something happens, somebody says something, something uproots your spirit, and then you lose focus about you being a creator, right? So when you create chaos, it just brings more chaos. What's going on? So if we remember in the moment, or if you remember like the second after you react to something, like because you feel as though you have to react to people. Like, let me just give you an example. So I was on the phone with the phone people, and we had to, I'm transferring to a different company because they had a better deal. And when I transferred to the new company, they're using eSIMs now, right? So you literally just turn on your phone and it's supposed to work. Well, you don't just turn on your phone, it's supposed to work. You have to download something, you have to click something, you have to do all these things. I told the lady, I was like, this was supposed to be easy. I don't like craziness or chaos. I said, so what I'm going to tell you is you need to make this more easier for me, or I'm not going to switch, because where I live is my life is going to be easy. And we have to remember that when we respond to people, when something comes up, it's like a test. It's like a test to see how you're going to react, how you're going to respond to that thing. And I'm going to give you another example. My children done lost all their mind. When it comes to doing homework, everybody's so unfocused. And I have to ask them, I'm like, do you treat the teacher like this? Like, do you make the teacher tell you 50 million times? Oh no. So why is it you doing it to me? But sometimes I forget, I'm like, y'all just sit down and stop talking. But I have to remember that I need to take a breath, because if I let them irritate me, everything else that comes up is going to irritate me. So being mindful of the things that irritate you, just know that once you're irritated, if you don't figure out how to shift that dynamic or that thought or whatever it is you're doing, you're going to be irritated for the rest of the day. And sometimes it boils over into your next day because you don't know how to let it go. If you start to figure out why you're so angry or uprooted because of something, and for me, it's my test, right? Like the kids yesterday, they didn't want to sit down and listen. Today, it's the same thing. I pulled out the belt and I threatened them. I did. That's my results. Like, you won't listen to me. You may listen to my friend. I call it my friend. But what I need to realize is they are intentionally, right? Like they want the attention. And that's what people want. They want you to give your full undivided attention to them. And they don't care how it comes out. They don't care, because if you're used to going off on somebody, that's what they're going to keep doing to you. But if you figure out how to shift that dynamic, I'm like, you know what? Okay, take a breath and move on. I know somebody, listen, I know people gonna say, hey, taking a breath sounds really hard. It does. It does. But if you practice taking a breath and responding after you take your breath, maybe your results will be different. Maybe. But for me, I've had a lot going on, and I have learned that taking a breath and focusing on what I want, the result I want, instead of what I don't want. Because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, this always happens to me. Oh, I'm used to mess happening. See, when you say words like that, the universe is like, oh, you like mess. You want more mess. You want more drama. We don't want the drama, but then you say you don't want it, right? So if you don't want the drama, take a time to figure out how you want to show up, because it matters more how you show up, not how somebody else is showing up. It doesn't matter. Other people, they're going to live their life regardless. But how do you want to show up, and how do you want people to see you, right? Do you want people to see you as that angry person? Because that's what we were taught growing up. We were taught to be angry. We were taught to be, oh, just snap off. What if you shifted that dynamic? What if you just stopped snapping off and be like, you know what? That really isn't worth my energy. It isn't worth my time. That's what you have to remember. Like, that's what I tell myself. Like, do I really want to uproot myself and my spirit today to respond to this? I told the lady I spoke to somebody else, another lady today. And I love to tell people this. If I tell you something and you repeat it back to me instead of answering the question, I ask you, did it feel or sound better coming from you? And it kind of triggers people because it's like, I don't know if you're trying to make me to be the stupid one or what, but you just repeated exactly what I said. Did it sound better coming out your mouth? I don't get mad. I just ask them, did it sound better coming out your mouth? Do you feel better about what you just said? And the lady, she says, I wasn't trying to be rude or anything. I'm like, okay, but it came off rude. So bringing attention to somebody instead of responding to them with another, like coming, that energy exchange of coming back and snapping back at people, that doesn't do us any good, because you'll sit there and argue with people. And I tell people, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna let you know that that's not what it is, and we're gonna move the hell on. So today, we're going to figure out how to shift our dynamic, shift the perspective of how you see things, because sometimes you're already mad about something when you go into a situation, so you respond differently when you're already mad. So before you do anything else past what you're mad about, like the situation, your current situation, if you continue to go, you're creating more chaos. You're asking the universe to give you, and some of you may not believe in the universe, you're asking God, whoever it is you believe in, to send you more of what you are creating. We create the situation we're in, and we stay in that creation until we figure out how to shift the dynamic. Until you shift that dynamic in that situation, it will always be the same. It will always be the same. You don't have to take a breath. You just have to realize what you're doing and what you're creating. So continue to ask yourself, what do I want to create from this response? So I'm going to go, but I have some exciting things that are going on, and then I'm going to share. I'll be back on, I ain't going to say tomorrow. I'm going to say Monday. I'm going to be back on Monday, because I'm going to move into coming back live on Mondays and creating some different things. So have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you again.